Well, hello, everybody. Hi. This is Jennifer Hough, and I am live with my dear friend and colleague, Lesley Graham. And Lesley and I know each other. We've known each other for, I don't even know, I should have counted the years, Lesley.
I know.
Do you have an idea? Is it like 8, 9, 10 years?
Well,
It's a lot.
I'll tell you what it was. It was the Millionaire Book Camp in London. And I think it
Oh,
was the first time that you came across to London. And I was there in the audience, yeah. And then followed you
wow.
around the room like
Yeah.
everybody else did.
I'm sure that's at least 10 years. I'm sure it's 10 years
So, yeah.
here. So, at the time I didn't I really, because Lesley's such a humble person, I had no idea the level at which she affects her region about healthcare. I also, because I hadn't been on a journey with her yet, which subsequently, of course, we have been on a journey together, but I had no idea how courageous you were. Um, yeah, truly. I mean, you have been on a ride, sister. Holy cow. So, guys, this is Agents of Awakening. I'm Jennifer Hough. Agents of Awakening is all about people that have built bridges to a reality that resonates with their heart. It's about people who have followed that little niggling, hey, come over here, that little part of them that knew that there was a more fulfilling life waiting, but they also knew that that fulfilling life probably was an expression of bridges that they could build to a better reality for humanity. They really have a contributing heart there. And probably, I suspect, a lot of you may be feeling that way. Like, what can I do? How can I contribute? How can I be all of me for all of you? Not in a way that carries, as Lesley and I know, carrying is not a great thing physiologically, nor for the world itself, correct?
Yeah, very true. Absolutely.
I think that's been one of the biggies
Very
for,
much so, yeah.
in our conversations, at least, Lesley. For those of you who maybe worry about humanity, worry about others, this will be a conversation for you. The other thing that I want to say about the conversation with Lesley is, Lesley, you're probably the greatest. There's the bio that you sent me, but there's the bio I want to share, which is you're probably the greatest example to me of how vulnerability has power, how humility invites people in, how softness and kindness, just like in the movie Interstellar, it's the thing that permeates all space, time, and every dimension. And you have a beautiful way of having the love that you are permeate space, time, and every dimension. For her official bio, Lesley, of course, was born in the UK, and she was a lead nurse for the National Health System for what they called an NHS for decades. It's so funny when I read this, Lesley, I'm like, oh my God, all the things I know about you. And she sent us this little short bio that says, when experiencing some serious health issues, which the serious health issues weren't just serious. You had cancer, right? And you used the metaphysical abilities that we all have to dive into the quantum field and build bridges to assist your body to heal. And at this point, where are you at in that journey, my dear?
All well.
Mm-hmm.
All very well.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. You're such an example of what's possible. But the cool other thing that I know about you that's not on your bio is it's not just, on your bio it says, resilience. I would say the determination part. Like, once you get an idea in your head, you don't just do it a little bit. You're like, okay, I believe you, Jennifer Hough, Joe Dispenza, all these people, Bruce Lipton.
Yeah,
And
I'm all in.
yeah, exactly. And yes, I'm doing that. So Lesley, can you share a little bit about, first of all, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you for having the courage to go on your journey. The bridges you build are really important for humanity right now, especially around the area of health. So first and foremost, can you share a little bit about how did you build a bridge to your well-being? What was the, let's say, what was the greatest practice you had, and then the greatest lesson you had in that process?
Well, the story behind it basically is the greatest process that I had was my inner belief that I could heal from these diagnoses. I have to start.
How did you get to that place of belief, though?
Yeah, well, from a kid, being very small, I just grew up with in an area of hardship, and in a time when you were the good girl, and you had to do as you're told and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that basically from those inner moments, I connected to something. I always knew I was connected to something.
Yeah.
But I didn't have the words for it. I didn't have the vocabulary to explain how I felt. But basically, yes, it was growing up in the north of England, and having this relationship with my poor father, who had health issues, mental health issues, which was quite challenging, to say the least.
I mean, they were intense mental health issues, and sometimes you were worried for your life, right?
Yeah, the poor man. I mean, now I'm at this stage of my life, and I look back, I think, gosh, it must have been awful for him, poor man. But so yeah, so I went through all these challenging times, and with being locked away basically from him because he was so volatile, etc. But I think that created a resilience within me, and after we came out of all of that, and my poor father was put into an institution, and then we moved into the countryside. It opened up a whole new life for me, and my mum had to work constantly in this big house as a housekeeper and cook, and my brother, I had an only brother, and he went off to boarding school. And I was just there, allowed to roam around on the farm and in the fields. And it was that then connection, I think. I was just by myself all the time, but with nature, with the animals, and I just connected and just entered into all these different realms. I mean, it was just amazing. So
To me,
I've had this inner belief all this time.
yes.
But knocked out, I had everything knocked out of me, as I was growing up and being, with all the roles and responsibilities that I was given as a
Sure.
kid. And then, and my brother, of course, he was encouraged to be educated and went off to boarding school. I wasn't. I was told I had to, financially support the family and leave school at 15.
Wow.
So that was another sort of episode where I had to actually go back to evening classes when I was married and had my kids. I was going back to evening classes to sort of start all over again, and then build from there, and obviously go through my nursing career, from the bottom and all the way through. So that in itself was the process, and in those days it was all, again, in nursing, very regimented, guidelines and protocols, and just had to follow everything. So I lost everything, my inner guidance, all the things that I was connected to.
So wait. I want to interrupt here because I really want people to hear. Lately we've been talking a lot about the new operating system for human beings, but really it's the old. It might be the oldest operating system in the world, and so embedded in us. It's so simple, not simple, it's so elegant, let's say, because there you were out in nature, understanding your connection, not because you had to get connected to nature, but actually because you are connected to nature, just like
Yeah.
me and just like everyone else listening. And
Yeah.
that nature has this beautiful way of ebbing and flowing with itself in perfect harmony. And we are of that. We're in that. And it's no wonder we're connected, because, that's just absolutely how I feel about life and all of this, as you know. And so then we have all the shoulds, musts, and have tos as a society superimposed on us.
Yes.
What it is to be a woman, what it is to be a girl, what it is to be less important because a man's more important, what it is to, and then you have to be feisty, and stand for yourself. And I don't even know, for everyone, what does it mean to be a lead nurse, Lesley? What does lead nurse mean?
Oh, well, my role as a lead nurse, I was a nurse practitioner, so and a nurse prescriber. So I ran my own clinics and prescribed medications, and yeah, and
It's like a doctor is kind of there, and you're right
yeah,
there. Yeah.
that you're at a level where you can diagnose the more simple issues and prescribe, and then it went on to going into public health, because I loved women's issues so much, and then in families, and I was asked to join that team at public health. And from that was just the start of, I actually expanded my role so much and took it so far into helping young teenage girls and getting them rehoused, all the things that I shouldn't have been doing. I was helping them to get rehoused, get furniture.
You were giving them their power back.
Supporting them. Yeah.
I totally get it. I remember
Yeah.
when I was working at that place for street youth, and I was doing all the things I wasn't supposed to do. So our hearts are just our hearts, right?
That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
So I'd been given this project, and all to do with social marketing, and I just took it to another level, really, because I just loved helping the young women so much. And I knew, because I'd been a nurse in that area for such a long time, and everybody knew me in the hospital, in the community, I knew who to go to for the funding.
You go, girl.
And so I was given pots of money that other people couldn't get, which was wonderful for them, for the girls. But then it happened that the funding ran out, and then the government initiative closed, and the whole department closed, and that's when I was left in this huge quandary about, I felt rather lost, and I was put back in the hospital setting, and that's when I was in a dilemma.
Well, do you know what's really interesting, Lesley? And then there's so much that happened in the background around your relationship, around the health issue. But what's important for me, for everyone to get, is that Lesley, you were there for everybody else.
Yeah.
You put your husband first. You put your career. You put those young women first. Not that that wasn't a joy of your life, but still you did. You had an aunt that you took care of. There were so many things right. And you were just, I really believe that consciousness makes some people very strong, because they're meant to go through the full gamut of whatever it is. I know you'll know what I mean when I say this. It's like we're meant to go through whatever it is. Like we had actually the perfect life, to be able to not write a new chapter of the old book, but to actually become a bridge in a brand new book where the slate is cleared, and we get very clear on why we lived all of that, so that we could build new bridges. And so can you share with everybody now your message? Like, what is the message you want for everybody here? What's the message you bring to the world after everything they've been through? And even for women, but the world itself, but even for women, Lesley, what's that message for you?
Well, what comes straight into my head is basically the message that I was given. I really didn't know how to think for myself. You know, I got lost in everybody else's shoulds and have tos, as you say. But what I really remember of all of the people that I nursed over all those years, and the people that passed, and I assisted them to pass, was their last spoken words as well about, you know, if I've got any message for your pet, this is the dialect that obviously the old people used to talk in, and they used to say, live your life to the full, travel as much as you can, see the world, do it all, because I wish I had. And it just, you know, I never forgot that. And so when it came to my relationship with my husband, and he wasn't particularly interested in traveling or doing the things that I wanted to, because I was so curious about everything still, that your guidance, and you got rid of all those old patterns. You know, you assisted me in going through all of those old patterns and limiting beliefs in order for me to find out who I was, and to basically speak for myself, to find my voice, which I've never ever had, and to say, well, you know, in a kind way, this is what I want to do. And he wasn't totally pleased about it, but I had to do it, and I was just, yeah, there I was off around the world and just connecting. You know, it was just, it's just a fabulous awakening, a true awakening.
It is a true awakening. It's all, yeah, it's as though the one thing you said around finding your voice, there's so many different experience, like your array of contrast and difficulty runs deep. It's with a parent who had a mental health issue. There was a whole bunch of things around love and relationship that you went through. There's a whole thing around transforming the cancer that you went through. These bridges that you've built for yourself, taking your voice back, you know, giving your power away as a woman, and thinking that your value as a human was because of how much you gave or how much you offered. And so, what do you now know? Yeah, I always get so present to how honored I am that we've been on this journey together, Lesley. And, you know, we now hang out together in Wings, side by side, watching each other. Wings is the graduate program of flight school. For people who don't know, flight school is a year-long program we do, so I don't want to get into that. But in Wings, side by side, just being a witness to each other's flourishing, the bridges that we've all built one way or another. And when I think of you, I'm always humbled by your courage. I'm always just, I listen to other people's stories and I think to myself, I don't know if I could have done that. And bless you for doing it, because the bridges that you've built are going to be are already and will be further meaningful for so many. My question is this, Lesley, what do you want to share with everybody about that courage? Like, if they're staring incongruency in their life in the face, if they're staring like, oh my God, you know, I feel my heart being called, but kids and house and or lack of house or like health issues or whatever it is, what do you have to share with everybody out there who feels that little heart's calling but feels like it's all too much? Or they listen to your story and they go, oh my God, what if I have to go through all of that? You know, what would you say to the people out there that feel maybe as you did at one point?
I would say, don't let anybody steal your dream. And your thoughts do create your reality. They truly do create your reality. And that's how I found my way back through this health situation. You know, the thoughts that create the feelings and then the emotions that come from that. And then each emotion creates a chemical release that really does heal your body, you know, and your thoughts. If you're feeling happy and joyous and compassionate, great. And that it really does assist your cells to align. But if you're in that role of frustration and worry and sadness, it really does affect how your body reacts, and it can knock you really out of alignment and into illness, like myself. So, but that doesn't just go with illness, that goes with everything you do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it's really, you do create your own reality. And also the key to this whole vibration and frequency teaching that I do is come from your heart. That's the highest frequency that you can come from. And
Yeah.
if you do everything with love, it just all happens. You don't have to do anything. It all happens and things present, and it seems to take you off on a journey.
Everything starts to come to you, right? Because that's where the universe lives. The universe lives in the, I mean, again, you know, I love the movie Interstellar because it so offers an example of how love actually reaches through the dimensions, and those other dimensions are where new possibilities are formed in this three-dimensional reality. So if we can permeate all dimensions, what happens is we start to get sent opportunities and sent ideas and sent all sorts of stuff. And it's not just our biochemistry that changes, is it, Lesley?
It's not.
It's everything.
It's amazing. And just the feeling, you know, and when you realize, you know, that this is all you have to do is love your life and assist others, because I love to assist others. And yes, and it just all seems to present.
But you're not assisting others now from carrying.
No.
You're assisting others from what's presenting, or what's literally in front of you. A final word, Lesley, before we go today, on not putting yourself first, but really honoring that you're a piece of the puzzle of heaven on earth, that you are important, that your life and the trajectory of your life matters. So a little word about how did you shift from sort of carrying the world to why isn't it carrying when you help others now?
Because it's a joy, it's a love, and with your assistance and everything you do, Jennifer, you know, you've assisted me to sort of completely change the view of the world, in fact. And it's now that the dream, honestly, the reason, it's like the reason that you came here, you know, when I used to say to you, there's an urgency, but I don't know what it is. What is it? Do you know what it is?
Uh-huh.
And, you know, it has to sort of develop for you to find out.
Yes.
And then when you're in your flow and you're sharing this information, it just lights me up. And now to go from all those years in the conventional medical profession,
yes,
and switch over to this alternative modality,
yes,
and be able to then reintroduce yourself back into the hospital setting. And for those obviously who've been through cancer, I've been invited to go and talk for Macmillan to
very
patients,
cool,
you know, who are suffering from cancer. And it's just like a full circle. I've learned everything, gone round and giving it back, paying it back. So, but it all comes from love, and I just thoroughly enjoy what I'm doing.
Oh gosh, I love talking to you. So everyone, you know, it's so beautiful to be a witness to the full circle of people's lives. And I so appreciate you taking us on the journey of yours, Lesley. Also, it's such a privilege to have witnessed the whole thing firsthand in flight school, and other things, of course.
Oh, well, thank you.
Um,
I couldn't have done
I
it without you and all the beautiful team and all the wonderful friends in Wings and everyone else. It's just a wonderful.
you know what's so great, Lesley, is it's you know, it's a joy, it's a privilege, but at the same time, just hearing your story again is also like an inspiration to me. It's like, wow, you're speaking at Macmillan. What a full circle of your journey. And you're with your husband
Yeah,
and I can't even,
beautiful husband.
and your
Gosh,
beautiful aunt is probably right beside you, cheerleading you all the way from the ethers. I'm just tickled pink to have you on Ages of
yeah.
Awakening. You epitomize that. So I'm just so grateful to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Bless
Yes.
you.
So everyone,
Yeah.
please take to heart that, the infamous words you can, we can, whatever it is that you're staring in the face, you can. I had a conversation this morning with a PhD and also a pastor, a beautiful Black woman who I met through the EBC. And, I think to myself, look at what we're facing together here in the United States. Look at COVID, which is in the world that you're in, the health world, Lesley. Look at all of this craziness in politics that's going on right now in the division. And it doesn't matter what your heart's called to. You can. Lesley did. I am. And together, 1 + 1 = 11. It's not even exponential. It's more than exponential. We just keep coming together and exponentiating each other. And that's the purpose of Agents of Awakening. So hashtag Agents of Awakening, hashtag be the bridge. And share
Guide.
this. What's that, Lesley?
Divine guidance.
Yes, exactly. Yes, absolutely. Don't even hashtag it; just get some. And right. And please share this interview to those who it would affect. And where can people find you, Lesley? I know they can find you on Facebook, but where else can they get you?
Well, I haven't got a website up yet, although many people are asking me to create one, which I am now. But in the meantime, my email address, Lesley, Lesley, .a.graham@googlemail.com. And if they put in capitals podcast, TWA podcast,
Mm-hmm.
then
Perfect.
I know where it's come from. In the meantime, while I'm creating my website.
Awesome. And we'll post these on our YouTube page, which is the Wide Awakening YouTube page. You can go there under Agents of Awakening, and you'll see all the other Agents of Awakening posts and interviews as well. And so like and follow us there. In the meantime, I love you, Lesley Graham. I am so privileged and honored that you are in my life. I am deeply in love with you and your spirit. And yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Mwah. It is mutual. So everyone, have the best rest of your day, knowing that you can and that there are bridges to be built. And we love you so much here at Agents of Awakening. Go and like us on facebook.com/Agents of Awakening. Bye for now.